It was a quiet street in a quiet town just outside of Springfield, Missouri. A small house painted a cheerful pink, with a wheelchair ramp leading to the front door. Inside those walls, a story was unfolding, one far darker than anyone could have imagined. Dee Dee Blanchard, the mother, was found in her bed, stabbed 17 times. The answer to this brutal act pointed to her daughter, Gypsy Rose. For years, Gypsy was seen as a frail, wheelchair-bound girl, battling serious illnesses. Her mother, Dee Dee, was her constant companion, her fierce advocate, but that bond was not what it seemed. It was a cage. The story of Dee Dee and Gypsy Rose Blanchard is a labyrinth of lies, a deep dive into a psychological condition so manipulative, it defies belief. It's a story about control, a mother's desperate need to be needed, and a daughter's yearning for freedom. The truth was buried under falsified medical records and a carefully crafted public image. We must unravel the threads of this complex relationship to understand how a story that began with a mother's supposed love could end in a daughter's ultimate betrayal. How did the little girl in the wheelchair become the architect of her mother's death? The answers lead us down a path as tragic as it is chilling. To the outside world, Dee Dee Blanchard was a model of maternal sacrifice. She dedicated her life to caring for her chronically ill daughter, Gypsy Rose. Gypsy's supposed ailments included leukemia, muscular dystrophy, and epilepsy. She was confined to a wheelchair, fed through a tube, and her head was shaved to mimic a cancer patient. Their lives were a cycle of medical appointments and hospital stays. Dee Dee was always by Gypsy's side, a font of knowledge about her conditions. Friends saw a hero, a woman who faced hardship with a smile. This narrative earned them sympathy and support, including a house from Habitat for Humanity. But behind closed doors, Gypsy was not sick as claimed. She could walk, did not need a feeding tube, and her shaved head was part of the deception. The lie was so vast that Gypsy herself did not fully understand the extent of the deception. She was a prisoner in her own home, and her warden was her mother. The truth was starkly different from the public image. Gypsy was trapped in a web of lies, unable to escape. Her life was a performance directed by Dee Dee. Life on Hope Street was a carefully managed illusion. For Gypsy, the pink house was a prison painted in a deceptively cheerful color. Dee Dee's control extended to every facet of her daughter's life. Gypsy was not allowed to go to school, her education limited to what Dee Dee chose to teach her. Any interaction with the outside world was heavily monitored. Dee Dee would hold Gypsy's hand during interviews, often answering questions for her. The medical abuse was relentless. Gypsy underwent unnecessary surgeries and took medications with debilitating side effects. Dee Dee maintained the charade by becoming an expert in deception. She moved from town to town, ensuring no single medical professional could piece together the full history. For Gypsy, this life was a confusing paradox. Her mother was both her caretaker and her captor. As Gypsy grew older, she began to understand the chasm between her life and others. She started to dream of a different life, a life of freedom. To understand this situation, one must understand Munchausen Syndrome by Proxy. It is a mental illness where a caregiver fabricates or induces illness in a person under their care. The motive is to gain attention and praise as a dedicated caretaker. Dee Dee Blanchard fit this profile perfectly. The sicker Gypsy appeared, the more admiration Dee Dee received. This constant validation fed her psychological needs, reinforcing the cycle of abuse. Dee Dee employed tactics like doctor shopping to prevent anyone from assembling a complete picture. For Gypsy, the experience was profoundly damaging, creating a powerful psychological bond known as trauma bonding. Even as Gypsy began to uncover the lies, the years of conditioning made it difficult for her to conceptualize a life without her mother. She was trapped by a web of psychological manipulation. In the isolating world Dee Dee had built, the internet became Gypsy's only escape. Late at night, Gypsy would log onto the computer and explore a world of friendships denied to her. On a Christian dating website, she met Nicholas Godejohn, a young man from Wisconsin. Their connection quickly deepened, and Gypsy confided in Nicholas about her life. Nicholas saw himself as her knight in shining armor. But as their bond grew, so did Gypsy's desperation. She saw no way out. Escape seemed impossible. The idea of murder began to take shape in their late-night chats. Nicholas agreed to help, and they planned it for weeks. The plan was set for a weekend in June 2015. Nicholas would take a bus to Springfield, Missouri. Gypsy would let him into the pink house while her mother slept. She would provide him with the knife and gloves. It was a chilling plot, born of desperation and a distorted view of reality. The stage was set for a tragedy that would shatter the quiet of Hope Street. Their plan was a desperate bid for freedom. On the night of June 9, 2015, the plan was put into motion. Nicholas Godejohn arrived in Springfield and checked into a nearby motel. Inside the pink house, the evening unfolded like any other. After her mother was asleep, Gypsy unlocked the door and let Nicholas inside. She gave him a knife and a pair of blue gloves. Then she retreated to the bathroom to wait. From behind the closed door, she heard her mother's screams. Nicholas stabbed Dee Dee Blanchard 17 times. When it was over, he found Gypsy, and together they cleaned up the scene. They took several $1,000s in cash and fled. Their escape was clumsy, a far cry from the seamless new life they had imagined. They spent a few nights in a motel before taking a bus back to Wisconsin. Back in Springfield, neighbors were beginning to worry. A bizarre post on Dee Dee and Gypsy's shared Facebook account triggered the alarm. The illusion Dee Dee had constructed was about to come crashing down. On June 14, 2015, a chilling message appeared on the Facebook page Dee Dee and Gypsy shared. The post read, "That bitch is dead." It sent waves of panic through their network. A second, more terrifying comment followed, leading friends to call the police. When officers arrived at the pink house, they found Dee Dee dead and Gypsy gone. The wheelchair and oxygen tanks were still there. A nationwide search for the missing girl began. The police traced the IP address of the Facebook post to Nicholas Godejohn's home in Wisconsin. When a SWAT team raided the house, they found Gypsy, perfectly healthy. She was standing, walking, and talking in a normal voice. The truth began to spill out, and the search for a victim turned into the investigation of a suspect. Gypsy explained the years of abuse and the fabricated illnesses. She confessed to talking Nicholas into committing the murder. The public was left to grapple with a complicated and disturbing reality. The hero mother was a manipulative abuser, and the innocent daughter was a killer. The revelation was stunning, and the story they told was even more bizarre than the crime itself. The case shocked the world and challenged perceptions of victimhood and justice. The legal proceedings were as complex as the case itself. The central question was how to hold Gypsy Rose accountable while acknowledging her life's extraordinary circumstances. Her lawyer argued that Gypsy's actions were a direct result of long-term trauma. Given the overwhelming evidence of abuse, the prosecution offered Gypsy a plea deal. In 2016, she pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. The judge sentenced her to 10 years in prison, the minimum sentence for the charge. Nicholas Godejohn's fate was different. He was found guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. For Gypsy, prison was a kind of liberation. She was free from her mother's control and began to discover her true self. She has expressed remorse for her mother's death, wishing there had been another way. Her story is a cautionary tale about the hidden nature of some forms of abuse. It's a stark example of the desperate lengths a person might go to escape. The case of Gypsy Rose Blanchard continues to fascinate and horrify the public. It serves as a chilling reminder that things are not always as they seem. Gypsy Rose was released from prison on parole in December 2023. Her re-entry into society has been a subject of intense media scrutiny. She is now experiencing true freedom for the first time. Her journey is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. The legacy of this case has brought attention to Munchausen Syndrome by proxy. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about the nature of abuse. The story of Dee Dee and Gypsy is a journey into the deepest shadows of a mother-daughter relationship. If you found this story compelling, subscribe for more deep dives into the cases that shape our world.